assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush amdeed. Ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishpata.
Pakhair agale, ni hao, tune shumme, washmale, Ohio Gonzaimes, guten Morgen, hola, boyor, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, suavia, balli garaya. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You're watching World this morning. Alongside the very fantastic, the very superb, the very amazing, the very ecstatic, exciting, and I think very philosophical early in the morning. She happens to be Shazad Hashmi, and I happen to be Shazad Hassan Khan. I actually just wanted to give a pause that she might think that I'm going to take my name, but since I've already said she happens to be, so I couldn't really change it. So hello Shazad, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you doing today?
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for asking. I'm doing absolutely great. Of course, I want to ask how you're doing, but I think we gather that, mashallah, your spirits are lifted, your energies are high.
Thank you very
so I
much.
think my question's going to be, are you getting used to the morning, well, sickness first of all, but then the morning cold and chill and whatnot? Because I do remember, ever since we started the show, you and I have been in winter talking about how we need to get the flu shots, because every other morning we wake up with allergies, but we never get the shots.
I think literally yesterday, it was a very difficult day, and it was because of the fact that when I woke up, my throat was feeling a little itchy, and then my nose felt like as if, there's any tap open inside it as well, because it kept on dripping. So I actually had to put a towel, right next to my pillow to kind of just clean it as well. But other than that, while I was in my car, I've taken my shower, I've had my breakfast. I was just like this in the car. I was like, yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day. Yeah. So
That's
other than
the
that,
spirit.
because even if you feel bad inside and, your tabiat's not right and you're not feeling well, you really need to make yourself feel good so that you can actually perform. Because ladies and gentlemen, we over here believe that, that this 1 hour which we are given, by the PTV World is actually an opportunity for us to make sure that we entertain you guys and then educate at the same time. And even if we are sick or ill, we really make sure that, that we create a difference and we are over there, to make sure that your mornings are going to be great. What about
Right.
you?
Absolutely, yeah, same here. We are on the same page, definitely. But speaking of great mornings, while just coming to work, I realized what a pleasant day it is in terms of how clear it is. I know you're going to say I don't like sunny days, and I don't, to be
I
honest.
like sunny days.
No, for me.
Yeah.
I don't like sunny days, to be honest, but I couldn't see the sun, so I was happy with it. But then I sort of remembered yesterday I was talking to one of my friends in Lahore, and although I've never been to Lahore, I mean, I've been there for
Really?
like a layover or
So
something.
you've been to Multan, but you haven't been to Lahore?
For a layover, for
So
sure.
you go from Islamabad to Multan, but you do not go to Lahore?
I think the
You
most
go
Lahore
from Islamabad to Khari and then do not go to Lahore and then go to Multan?
Yes, so
different.
I mean, for sure, maybe I've stopped for a restroom or something, that's
Yeah.
it. Anyway, point being, so she has children, most of them, 2 of them actually are really, really young, and she was so worried about the breathing situation of the kids, especially, first of all, their lungs are not developed, so she was worried because of the smog situation in Lahore. Now, unfortunately, Shazad, Lahore happens to be one of the worst hit cities all over the world, all over the globe, not only in Pakistan, with such a condition. Of course, there are some in our neighboring
the air
countries
quality,
as well.
ladies and gentlemen, is
It's
actually the worst in
insane.
Lahore.
Yeah, definitely. Go on. So, which is why actually it is decided. You want to say that?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have, I don't know whether how students are going to take it, but whenever
I
the
think they're really
students are being
happy.
told that, hey, you know what, your school's going to be off 3 days a week, I think everybody's going to jump from their sofas. So, it is Lahore schools, offices to remain shut thrice a week as smoke worsens.
And you know what the third day is? The third day is Monday. But then,
All right.
I mean, the Tuesday becomes Monday, right?
I think what,
In terms of
I
spirits.
think what they're trying to do is that to have lesser traffic out there on the roads as well, so that it does not contribute to smoke. And
Yes, for
obviously,
sure.
I think that there needs to be people, or probably government representatives out there, ladies and gentlemen, who really need to kind of work their way through. We do have a good transport system. People do not believe in it. For example, when we talk about metro, a lot of people use it. But eventually, I think that the society really needs to play their role in where, they kind of just make sure that they have an extra car, they're going to take it out, roam around. And even now, these days, people have this habit, even in winters, that they do not shut down the engines. I mean, I think that, in winters, you can certainly do that, because in summers, okay, it's hot, anybody can understand. But why in winters? I mean, it's not really a status symbol to let your engine be the way it is. If
Be
it's in
running?
start, it starts, in running.
But isn't it supposed to sort of warm up the car? Again, I
mean,
don't drive,
it is
so I don't
supposed to
know.
warm up the car, but if it's going to be there for an hour or half an hour, please don't do that, because it's contributing to your smoke.
Oh, definitely the environment. Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
So, it's not really environment friendly. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to that, what Punjab University is doing, that Punjab University is actually going to kind of do this experiment of artificial rain, which I
Oh,
believe was great.
amazing.
When I heard the news that Punjab University is going to do something, first of all, it was hard for me to believe that, okay, whether students over there can do that or not, but here's the news. Punjab University Lahore going to experiment artificial rain to combat smog. Wow. Finally, in 2021, we're actually following the world.
I
That's
mean,
great.
yes, why not, about time? And don't you think it's definitely a brilliant step forward, especially considering that we are a agrarian society and the type of, I mean, there are times definitely when we're sort of thriving, wishing actually for it to rain for the crops and whatnot. So if we can have the facility or the technology for that, well, definitely we are moving
I mean, we even
forward.
want rain over here in Islamabad, Alamia, please, because
It's getting
every
so
other
dry,
day
to
we're
be
getting
honest.
flu and there's so many other, we do have to actually I actually have to take Castine, so that I really do not get any sort of allergies. But for everybody who's out there, please make sure that you look after yourself. I've been taking a lot of steam, which actually gives
That's
you
good.
your skin a glow. But yes, I'm wearing makeup too as well. So please do not kind of misjudge me on that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, as we say that we really need to celebrate our heroes and people who've contributed towards Pakistan and Pakistan's better name, all over the world. So I think today we really need to kind of mention that today it happens to be the death anniversary of iconic superstar Mr. Wahid Murad Sahab as well, and we are observing that, the entire nation is observing that. Because if we talk about him, ladies and gentlemen, he was born on October 2nd, 1938 in Sialkot, Shiga, and Wahid Murad Sahab, also known as Chocolate Hero, was a film actor, producer and scriptwriter. Wahid Murad started his film career from film Aulad and performed as a hero in scores of films. Many of his films hit the box office after celebrating silver and golden jubilees. His film Arman was the first one in the country which won the status of Platinum Jubilee. He
Wow.
acted in 125 feature films and earned 32 film awards. Wahid Murad died on 23rd November 1983 in Karachi.
May his soul
May his
rest
soul
in
rest
peace,
in
definitely.
peace, and for all of those family members who left behind as well, patience for the bereaved too as well, and the entire country. In fact, people all over the world miss him because the kind of work he has done, ladies and gentlemen, has contributed quite a lot to Pakistani cinema.
Yes, definitely, and sort of left a legacy for the, the newcomers as well in terms of how to perform.
And nobody's even close.
Of course. I mean,
sorry,
that
but
is
yeah.
why he is a legend, an icon, definitely so. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been more than 2 years now. We are going through a pandemic, unfortunately. Shazad, just yesterday, I was thinking about how when the pandemic started, we were so confused, even as a team, right?
Yeah.
But our job was sort of, we couldn't put a lid on it because, of course, it's live TV, it's state television as well. We had to bring to you the right kind of information, so all of us could not take off. I remember you contracting the virus as well, and then some of our members too, but all of us were so committed to sort of bring the best news to you, which sort of, took me to think about all the people who don't believe in this pandemic or the virus still. Do you know there are still
So
people
there
out
is
there?
skepticism
And
about COVID, right?
definitely so. While, of course, anti-vaxxers is a whole different league as well. They don't believe in vaccines at all. Of course, COVID vaccine happens to be one of those vaccines too, but particularly there are people who just debunk the entire idea or the thought of this virus happening or the pandemic happening too. I don't know what goes behind that. There's definitely a mentality. We need to talk about it, Shazad, because the people, lately I've been reading a lot of news of people regretting not getting a vaccine because their loved ones passed away, unfortunately, or succumbed to the virus itself as well. So I think we need
Exactly.
to talk
And
about it.
in addition to that, I think that this is coming for you, for all of those people who really do not believe in the vaccines.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, imagine that in Australia the COVID cases were going up. So what they did was they did a complete research. They figured out where majority of the people who really did not get themselves vaccinated live, and they put them in a lockdown. So imagine that if you're not going to get a vaccine, number one, you cannot travel. You cannot, even in Pakistan, you cannot go on motorways. People have been taken off the buses as well, or restaurants for that purposes. Any public office, you cannot even come to PTV. Even if you are a PTV employee, if you haven't gotten yourself vaccinated, you're not going to get paid. Yeah, I mean, that was the first phase. The second phase is if your family is not inoculated, even still you're not going to get paid. So I think that these kind of rules need to be in place as well. But we really do have a report on that too, which relates with skepticism about COVID or probably the vaccines as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead, take a look at this report. And then once you guys will come back, we have talked quite a lot about how Pakistanis are getting their vaccines. The Asad Umar Sahab tweeted the other day that 49% of the total population of Pakistan has been actually inoculated with first ever or the number one dose of the vaccine as well. But other than that, I think Islamabad is amongst those cities where majority of the people have been inoculated. But what's happening all over the world where people from Pakistan live and what kind of difficulties are they facing? We will be talking about that. But after this small report, good morning.
Let's take a look.
COVID skepticism is a global phenomenon. We're well into the pandemic, and surges continue to make life difficult and scary. However, the skeptics still don't believe in the risks of COVID-19, or perhaps simply don't believe those risks apply to them. As a result, COVID-19 continues to affect lives and livelihoods around the world. The pandemic has largely caused fatalities and economic fallout. As far as Pakistan is concerned, encouraging statistics has been reported on the coronavirus pandemic. The total number of new COVID-19 cases have been steadily declining nationwide. The NCOC has urged the masses to continue to adhere to SOPs of wearing masks, social distancing. These decisions could be reviewed again in view of the increased disease prevalence whenever deemed necessary. Though much of our fears have reduced as vaccines are available and many more doses are arriving soon, the government needs to strategize for an effective countrywide vaccination drive. The authorities must work to expand the drive to include those who are living below the poverty line. People living in poverty remain the most vulnerable ones in the face of diseases.
Well, this was, of course, really informative. And now we know that, of course, there are still people out there who need to learn more about this pandemic itself. So for them, actually, and for us as well, to learn even more, we have been joined by a consultant physician. She is live from Germany right now, joining us online. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Tasneem Saeed. How are you?
Walaikum Assalam. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. Thank you very much for taking our time. And, it's great to see people doing good work, and that too, across the borders, so you have your own private practice in Frankfurt as well. So congratulations on that you're really kind of promoting the name of Pakistan out there.
Mashallah.
And we hope that, that there are a lot of people who actually kind of take shifa from your hand, inshallah, by Allah's will. But before we actually kind of indulge in any sort of conversation, ma'am, I would first of all want to know how people of Pakistan in Germany are actually very coherent with the SOPs which were put in place by the German government, or do you think that there are people who are still in denial that we really do not need vaccine and it's really a controversy or things like that? How is the condition in Germany?
Well, if you talk about the Pakistani population in Germany, they're still in denial, and they have been in denial since the start of the pandemic, unfortunately. First of all, they thought this whole COVID virus, it's a myth, it's a conspiracy, and they didn't take it seriously. And afterwards, when the vaccines came out, they started believing all the myths, all the stories about the vaccines not being valid, the vaccines being a conspiracy theory of, I don't know, implanting chips in people, or whatever conspiracy theory was out there was believed by the Pakistani population over here, which is very unfortunate. But we have been trying to educate them since the medium of instruction here in Germany is the German language. There has been a lapse or a gap between the Pakistani community and the instructions from the government because of the language. We have been trying to bridge that gap in that we have been doing community work. I have been doing community work ever since the pandemic started. I've been trying to translate or explain these instructions to the Pakistani population in Urdu, in English, so that it's easier for them to understand and to follow these instructions. Despite our efforts, despite my efforts, it has still not penetrated the Pakistani population, and unfortunately, I've seen it with my patients. I've seen it in my circle of friends that eventually they believe in the COVID infection when they get infected themselves, which is very unfortunate. We have been trying to prevent that, but they believe in it after they've been affected, and then it's too late, actually.
All right, but ma'am, in connection to that, obviously, because when we speak about COVID from 2019 to 2021, it was Europe which was massively hit. And a lot of people in Europe, within the European countries have lost a lot of lives as well. So don't you think that people of Pakistan, whether they may be in Germany or somewhere in Europe, have seen it from their own eyes that, hey, you know what, it's very destructive. and that everybody needs to kind of follow the SOPs. So, even if the language is not there, they can probably see it all over the news, internet, Google, anywhere. So why do you think that there's this disbelief, and what do you think that the German government or any European country would have interest in to, God forbid, make sure that people are thinking that we don't know, it might be a controversy against us? Or what do they have to offer?
Well, yes, people do follow, for example, the Pakistani news, the Pakistani media. They've been traveling to Pakistan, and they know that corona is not, or the COVID infection is not only in Germany, it's all over the world. It's in Pakistan as well. But you see now in Pakistan, for example, as I've heard and I've seen, it's been made mandatory to get the vaccines. Otherwise, you cannot go to work, you cannot go to school, for example. The same laws cannot be applied over here because of I don't know, freedom of speech maybe. The rules are different. Like you cannot make anything compulsory for the population. You can just advise them to do so from the government's perspective. And the Pakistani population, or I would say all the foreigner population, the Arabs as well, they wait till it's made absolutely mandatory. If they can get out of it, they will get out of it one way or the other. Unfortunately, it's like that. And like I said, until and unless it hits their home, it hits their family, it hits themselves, they do not believe in it. And afterwards, I've seen my Pakistani patients come to me and tell me, now I believe it. Now I want a vaccine. Now I want to be treated for it. But like I said, it's too late. And then I tell them, we've been telling you from the start. And it's very unfortunate that you had to experience it yourself to believe in it. I don't know, it's a problem of belief. I don't know if it's a problem of being resistant, but it is there, unfortunately.
Co-host has a few questions to ask, but on a very lighter note, this kind of resonated with where the parents kind of keep on telling their kid, bete nahi karo, bete nahi karo. All of a sudden, when you have a trumbo, you're like, okay, maine bola tha na. So I think that this is exactly the same condition
Told
where
you so.
Pakistanis are over there in Germany or probably in any other country who are actually not still ready to believe that they really need to get themselves inoculated. And thank you very much for kind of sharing that part of the story as well.
Right, definitely. And Shazad, you remember when we were learning about this particular virus as well, we were told that
we were scared as well.
Yeah, of course, we were so scared.
Gloves, masks, and everything.
Right, and we were told that, of course, it is better. Actually, the better environment for it to grow is definitely a little colder as compared to summer. And then we were all waiting for summer to appear so that the virus would die. It never happened. Now it's winter again. I want you, being a physician, to let us know if we should be worried that it's going to get harsher or even worse in the winter season, first of all. Secondly, well, alhamdulillah, Pakistan is actually experiencing a really low positivity ratio right now. So what is the prevalent condition in Germany?
Well, yes, it gets worse in winter for two reasons. First of all, in winter, the human immunity gets low anyway. And the days are shorter, you don't have much sunlight, and other diseases start attacking the human beings as well. For example, the flu wave starts. And since the immunity is low, the COVID infection or the COVID virus has the opportunity to attack you much easily than in summer. And we've been seeing an increase or a surge in the COVID cases ever since winter started, that is October almost. And so much so that we are the capacity in the hospitals is full at the moment. We are experiencing almost 3,000 positive cases per day in Germany. I'm not saying that all of those cases are very severely infected. They are from mild to severely infected cases. And the lighter cases, the milder cases, they are being quarantined at home. And the severe cases, they are then transferred to the hospital. So much so that all the intensive stations in the hospitals, they are full at the moment. They are full to the capacity. And the government is telling them, to everyone, that we are full. We don't have the capacity to take you in the hospital. So please try to protect yourselves. Please don't get infected. Please take care. Please follow the SOPs so that it doesn't come to that situation that you have to be hospitalized and you don't get a place in the hospitals, for example. Other than that, they're offering booster doses. That is the third dose of the COVID vaccine at the moment. Because, for example, if you get vaccinated with 2 doses of, like, say, Moderna or BioNTech Pfizer, The latest research shows that the antibodies against the corona virus in your body lasts up to 6 months. After 6 months, it starts declining. That means that your immune system against the coronavirus is low again. So they're offering the booster dose as well at the moment, so that the immunity against the coronavirus is boosted again. So that is another strategy. Thirdly, they are considering it's all over the news every day. There's some new information, some new news that eventually, if the situation remains so, they're going to make it mandatory for everyone to get vaccinated, or we'll go into a lockdown. For example, like Austria is in a lockdown right now, and for unvaccinated people, only the vaccinated people are allowed to go to work or to school. Eventually, if the situation remains here like that as well, we might go into a lockdown for unvaccinated people. That will be the only way to get them vaccinated. Like Shiraz said, डंडे से ही काम चलाना पड़ेगा फिर.
All right, but Dr. Saiba, two last questions towards the end of this segment. And for number one, obviously, a lot of Pakistanis come up with a lot of desi totkas, as soon as, this novel virus broke out, back in 2019, people started to talk about how moringa leaves and, if you boil them and, you can have that water will actually help you recover. Which obviously was a very devastating news for me, because moringa leaves was actually kind of used to kind of get rid of constipation. This is why it's very commonly used. But not just that, do you think, would you recommend as a doctor, or do you think that it's stupid of people to kind of go for desi totkas when there are people who've actually studied for more than 10 years, they're virologists, and they're coming up, they're saying that please make sure that you don't do that. Number two, just a few days ago, we actually had Dr. Saab, who happens to be a pulmonologist, and he was a professor in a medicine university as well. He said that there's a fifth wave coming in the United States of America. So or probably, do you think that people in Europe witnessing any other wave which is yet to come, or do you think that the condition is getting better?
Talking about the desi totkas, they don't help against the viral infection itself. It might help with your immunity, because in order to fight against any infection, whether it's viral or bacterial, your immune system has to be strong. So if you have any desi totka that you've heard of, like I've heard that you can have a kalonji in the form of oil or in the form of seeds. It helps with your immunity, or you inhale with certain oils, or you use certain creams that help you breathe better. Well, I'm all for it. I'm not against them. Because if it helps you boost your immunity in any way, then why not? But on the other hand, don't do only that. If you're sick, if you have the infection, then please listen to your doctor. Your doctor will advise you according to the stage or the severity of your infection as to what you need to take at that moment, whether it's antibiotics, whether it's something to inhale, whether it's antipyretics, whether it's antivirals. Please do go to a doctor if you're infected and get treated properly. And in addition to that, you can apply oral totkas. Why not? If they're helping. If they're not helping, then please leave them on the side. The second question, yes, we are experiencing a fourth wave right now, which is at its peak, and which has been the worst wave since the beginning of the pandemic. All the three previous waves that we experienced here, they were much milder, and we were able to get over it. Unfortunately, despite all the what can I say, all the development in the technology, the development of the vaccine, the development of the treatments against COVID, we are unfortunately still experiencing a fourth wave, which shouldn't have been. We shouldn't have been experiencing this wave, but it's unfortunate because it's because of the non-believers, it's because of the non-vaccinated people that we are experiencing this fourth wave. But the German government is vowing to overcome this wave and to try and do measures so that we don't experience another wave, because it's going to be very unfortunate for medical science, for humanity, that despite all the efforts, we are still not able to overcome a virus. See, this is not a pandemic that's new. We've been having pandemics since the beginning of mankind, but we've been able to overcome them through a collective effort through the development of medical science. And this is the This is the very modern medical era, and if we are not able to overcome this now, then it's very unfortunate for humanity.
Exactly. Thank you very much, Dr.
Absolutely.
Saiba, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation and wish you best of luck as well. And for the people of Pakistan and everybody who's out there who might be vulnerable to this very sick illness, ladies and gentlemen, a very fatal illness. And please make sure that you're not amongst the disbelievers, and it's because of the fact, or non-believers, and it's because of the fact that you're putting anybody's and everybody's life in harm's way. Please don't do that, people. Even if you're
Absolutely.
in Pakistan or elsewhere, out where, somewhere in the world, please make sure that you don't do that. Please get yourself vaccinated. It has helped us. I haven't, alhamdulillah, gotten COVID after the time I've gotten
Yeah.
my vaccine shots as well. So it has helped me. It has helped me do good things in life, because earlier, we were just stuck at home. We couldn't do anything else. So please make
Right.
sure that we kind of help the economy to grow as well, because the restaurants were closed. Everything was getting closed, ladies and gentlemen. Now the way forward is to get yourself vaccinated so that you can do pretty much what everybody wants to do.
Definitely, and I don't want to jinx it, but I never had COVID. And
Yeah,
I did get
alhamdulillah. But you did
vaccinated
get
as
the
well.
vaccine, yeah?
Right, and I feel like at this point, before we do head out to a short break, you all heard it from the horse's mouth itself. Dr. Saiba said that you have to be careful, because when it's winter, of course, we can expect for it, for the virus itself to be stronger than before and your immunity to be down. So make sure to be taking all sorts of things that will boost your immunity in terms of fresh fruits and fresh vegetables and whatnot. And especially since COVID is also a respiratory disease, I feel like it is very important to make your lungs stronger as well,
Exercise.
so that nothing,
Yeah.
sort of attacks that too. And I feel like two of the best things to actually develop your lung stamina is cycling and swimming.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
exercise, yeah, because
Yeah, of
because you're
course.
breathing every single day. Whether you're swimming, whether you are javelin throwing,
Right.
whether you're polo riding or horse riding or anything. But why cycling in the first place? Why Shiza has picked up on cycling is a surprise, ladies and gentlemen, because there's this surprise coming for all of those people in Islamabad, Rawalpindi, and elsewhere. Because on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of December, there's something fantastic happening. What is that? Is something we'll be giving out
After
after
this
the
short
break.
break, right? Stay
Good
tuned.
morning.
Good morning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTV World, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this is for the very first time that within a break, we actually had a disagreement. But yes, certainly, because we were about to kind of come back from the break as well. We were like, okay, it's okay. She said something. I was like, how can that happen? And then all of a sudden, we actually had to be back. But other than that, she's actually spoke about how you can actually boost your immunity when you work out, when you exercise, when you make sure that you're breathing quite a lot as well. And while she was actually kind of talking about that, she talked about cycling.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and before heading out towards a short break, I actually said that on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of December, the people of Twin Cities and elsewhere can actually expect a wonderful surprise, and anybody and everybody can kind of participate, because The tour of Islamabad is coming, ladies and gentlemen, and who's
Wow.
arranging that? It's actually an annual thing. You know, for the last 2 years, they've been doing it as well. I mean, amidst pandemic, you guys have been doing it as well. Wow! So I think that's
that's the best
wonderful.
work.
Because on cycle, you can literally maintain your distance from anybody and everybody whom you do not want yourself to be closer to. So I think you either pedal faster, either you pedal slower. Jane do. Yeah, so we'll be talking about that, and then what's the difference in between a professional cyclist and an amateur cyclist. And it's because of the fact that I was like, hey, you know what? All you have to do is pedal. That's it. You know, even an amateur can do that, and even a professional can do that. So what's the difference? That's something which we really need to figure it out. So on the 3rd of December, what's going to happen? On the 4th of December, what's happening? On the 5th of December, what's happening? And whoever wins, because it's actually a cycling race, what are they going to take back with themselves is something we'll be asking as well. We're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we've actually been joined by somebody who happens to be a certified coach, a commissaire, General Secretary, Islamabad Cycling Association. He is Muhammad Harun. General, hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam, good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. And I didn't actually give you this compliment when I met you earlier. It was because of the fact the last time you were here, you told me that you're way older than me, and you certainly do not look, but you look dapper and amazing too as well. You know, this is something I needed to mention.
Mashallah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. All credit goes to your wife for taking out your clothes. Thank you very much once again. But alongside this very professional cyclist, ladies and gentlemen, we are lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who was kind of promoted by them or kind of given the motivation by them that, hey, you know what, you can start somewhere. So she's an amateur cyclist. She is Miss Maliha Noor. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalamualaikum ji, good
Thank
morning.
you very much for joining us. And she's literally not amateur at speaking as well, so I think she's done a great job. Last but not the least, he's been on the show before too as well. Looks very upright. Looks like, you know, he's the first guy in the assembly line as well. You know, parks, well, he's great. He is Mr. Wasim Zia. He's a cyclist in the Islamabad team as well. Hello sir, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam, good morning. How are you doing?
See, I told you, thank you very much. We are doing wonderfully well, and thank you very much, guys, for taking our time. Wonderful to have you over here.
Yeah.
So, cycling set has always kept you fit, alhamdulillah, and you're making sure that you're going to keep cycling fit as well over here in Islamabad and Twin Cities. So, what's happening? Let's take a look at the Islamabad tour first of all. What happened in the previous 2 years and what's happening this time around?
Okay, Tour of Islamabad is basically a professionals race. However, we have two different categories in it. One is actually a professionals and one is actually masters. So masters is
Professionals and masters, okay.
it's not amateurs.
Yeah.
Masters is actually somebody who's 40 plus.
Who's 40 plus.
Who's 40 plus.
And can still cycle.
You'll be amazed.
Don't be offended, okay? It's just a morning show on a lighter note, yeah.
Yeah, I know I'm about 40 and I still cycle.
See, that's something which I never figured out. I knew that you were older than me. You told me this last time, but you
that's what
never
he was
look
wishing
over
for.
40. Yeah? I look older than you, alhamdulillah.
It's just the beard, it's nothing else.
Please go ahead.
But yes, all right.
So basically, I kept the masters category for myself, you know. Yeah, no, not really. Actually, a lot of friends and a lot of people who wanted to actually cycle, and they said they wanted to participate in a race. So Tour of Islamabad is actually on a concept of a race like, you know, Tour de France and all of these big races. So we've had Tour de Khunjab in Pakistan as well. We've had Tour of Waziristan. We've got different tours happening all over the country. So Tour of Islamabad, we started again 2 years ago. So we've been operational throughout pandemic. And cycling is one of the things that had never stopped.
You maintain your distance.
You maintain the distance. So exactly, a race is, you paddle faster, you go forward and you keep the distance.
Yeah.
So that's another motivation.
Exactly.
So we normally did it on 2 days. So it's a stage race. You have on multiple days. So the same people actually are racing on multiple days. So this time we're actually doing it on 3 days.
Yeah.
So on the day 1, that's the 3rd, it's basically starting from the zoo, old zoo parking, and we'll go up to Munal.
Oh my God. I
Yes.
was thinking of coming, you know where? I'm never going to come now.
Well, most of the time.
Don't worry, we've got the amateur races as well. That's on the last day.
Yeah,
So-
they have a tricycle races. Huh?
No.
I
didn't
don't
participate
want
in
to
that.
do it uphill, but yeah.
So that's day 1 actually. It's just the start.
No, but
So-
literally we have seen cars failing and coming back in reverse because they cannot actually kind of go
Oh my
up
God,
there
my
because they
thighs
didn't have
hurt already.
they didn't had enough torque to kind of go climb that Munal Wali hill.
I'll give you just an example. In your estimate, what's the time from Zoo to Munal?
You know, it's not about the time, it's literally
I think
about
on a
the
car
muscles.
maximum I think it takes 30 to 35 minutes.
Okay, you know what the best time on a bike we have right
What?
now? 28 minutes.
That's it.
Oh.
So where's this gentleman? Who is that? Is that you?
No, not me. Not me. Well, mine is a little higher than that, but those are the professional cyclists you were actually referring
So you're
to.
telling me that when you have reached Munal on a bicycle.
Yes.
Wow, master.
Oh, we have some. Oh my God, we have the
there you
picture
are.
right here.
That's actually a female cyclist we had last year, and we've got these few races actually coming in. So we've got women participating as well. It's not just men's race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'd love it.
So-
You know what? Sorry, go on.
Please.
I was going to move on to the woman over here actually. We'll definitely come back to you for the details. But Malia, how did you become a part of this? And first of all, I have to mention, I really appreciate the fact how you're wearing these joggers as well and you're sort of, in the group too. Are you going cycling afterwards?
Not exactly right now since I have to go to work, but
Okay.
we do cycle very often, and it's like there's this competition happening in Islamabad these days all around, cycle to work competition. So yes, when we get time, we often drop our little one to school on the cycle since we have a little cycling seat at the back. So yes, we try cycling as a family more, but as individual as well. I try cycling to work. I tried cycling to work, and I had been doing that when it was closer. Now it had gone far away. So
But that's still a huge feat, to be honest. I mean, to wake up early in the morning, to feel the will to cycle to work. But you're doing that. That's great.
But
Are
I think what I need to ask over is, why is it that you are actually labelled as an amateur cyclist and he's labelled as a master cyclist? What's the difference?
I think the difference is the
number of
speed.
years?
Yes, not number of years. It's like I've been cycling almost more than 10 years, 1 decade. But to catch up with that speed, I think that's the main
Is
thing.
it really fast?
Well, for the professionals, yes, it is, but not for me.
And do you try harder to
She
become?
goes like, but not
No, but do you try hard to kind of become or kind of fall in the professional category?
Yes, there is a will for that, and I am hoping maybe in the years to come, I can join them
Wow,
with
that's
that.
wonderful. Which is why I'm going to move on to Wasim, ladies and gentlemen, who actually happens to be a member of the Cyclist Samba team as well. Wow. I mean, first of all, what does it take to be in the team? Let's
professional
talk about
cyclists?
that.
Yes.
Well, first of all, you have to have a very good bicycle to start with, and then there are qualifying rounds. You have to qualify. Usually, the team has given a task of like a limited time that you have to complete a ride in, and then that's the way you get qualified. And then there are multiple riders, like 8-10 riders, and out of it, a team of 6 riders is formed.
And what is the maximum speed you've touched? Is it like 50 miles an hour? Is it like 60 miles an hour? Because cycles can go fast, really fast.
Yeah. So this one time, what I have seen on my GPS monitor was like 86 kph.
Hey, wow.
When I was coming back from Murray on the highway.
So were you coming back or were you going up?
When I was coming back.
Yeah. So,
By the way, I really want to ask this because I've had both the sentiments. Which one is harder, uphill or coming down? Because
obviously uphill,
no,
yeah.
but listen, man, coming down you have to handle it, don't you?
I mean, it's alright. It's a gear bike, anyways. You lower the gear.
Downhill, I would say.
It's harder.
Downhill.
Yes.
They come.
Why downhill is?
Going uphill, it's all about power, whatever power you
Like
have.
you have in control, right?
Yes.
Well, a master is saying that. No, I mean, for
Come
us,
on,
it's going
believe
uphill
me.
is difficult.
Yes.
Coming down is easier.
Because when you're coming back downhill, you tend to relax, I can just leave it. And that's when actually an accident happens.
Exactly.
God.
So you have to be very, very careful. So always whenever we tell somebody who's going up, be very careful when you're coming downhill.
True.
So it's like brake before the turn, and there are certain techniques that you should follow.
And I'm saying that because I've lost all my teeth once to a downhill accident.
Really?
Yeah, I was roller skating and then
That's a funny story.
it is, you guys. I was roller skating and
I wonder how you might look after that.
I didn't go out of the
Smiling,
house
she's
until I had my teeth back.
She's a
But-
smile. Oh, I'm smiling. Oh, where are your teeth? Oh, yeah, I lost them in the previous joke, but yes, so it's all right.
But so you guys, please let us know how can someone register if it's their first time? Is it still open for them? And if they have registered, is it a 3-day thing that will go on, or they can just be a part?
And not just that, in addition to that, obviously you spoke about that on the first day you're going to go from Zoo to Manal. On the second day and the third day.
On the second, we're actually going from Islamabad to Murray.
Huh?
Yes, that's the day too. Okay, that's the last day. It's actually, we have loops of Jinnah Avenue. It's about 108 kilometers.
Okay.
But that's the professional part. No.
108 kilometers.
108 kilometers. So that's
I
about.
do it all over the day, yeah.
Yeah. For amateurs, actually, we have it later during the day.
Okay.
So we've got shorter races. Like for kids, we have 3 kilometers races. For women, we have about 8 kilometers race. So those are much shorter races. So that is on the basically 5th, and that's also our cycling Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because we're having this cycling Sunday as well, and that's basically to promote cycling and urban transport, like cycle to work, as Malia mentioned. It's basically part of that theme that people should start biking more, and they should leave the cars. And because Islamabad is such a small city that you can very easily do this.
Definitely.
And we've been doing it, and a lot of our friends, we've been actually going to our jobs, universities, everywhere on the bicycle. So it's that mindset you. And you said what it takes to be a professional cyclist. It's basically to do anything you need the will.
That's
You
true,
need the
absolutely.
motivation to do it. So you should actually say, yes, I'm going to do this. There are going to be hurdles. It's going to be a little difficult, but if you want to do it, you should do it. And as far as anybody who wants to register, it's still open. And Islamabad Cycling Association, you can go to the page. We've got the links there. We've got the details there. So you can go register, and anybody can participate. So it's anybody above 17 can actually participate, men and women, both.
Right, absolutely. And I feel like I'm testing my co-anchor's patience over here.
No.
But I feel like it was absolutely important for us to talk about this and you guys to arrange this event as well, because we don't want Islamabad to become more like Lahore in terms of smog and whatnot. So if we can individually control the environment by just switching to cycles and leaving our Mercedes behind for a day, I think it will be very good for the environment.
Yeah. And I actually had a super bike which my parents actually kind of pushed me to sell, so I've sold that as well. But just speaking about that, obviously, cycling is a thing which was very close to me in my youthful days. Yeah, and so I've actually pushed my father to kind of get me a bicycle, mountain bike, and all of that, and I've done that. And I've gone far away as well. Even when I wasn't allowed. But the thing is that now when we talk about professional cycling, I think majority of the kids, why they jinx it is that they want the best bicycle, they want the best gear, but they really are not ready to push themselves as well. And I think this is something which we really need to kind of talk about today, that how people will actually, because the other day, I think it was on some local news channel as well, where this gentleman in Lahore has bought a cycle worth 5 million rupees.
What?
And then he was showing it to everybody and whatnot, but he's not really riding it because it's so expensive.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Well, actually, yes, there are, you said professionals and amateurs, right?
Yeah.
So amateurs are a lot of people, and there are some who actually just buy the bike for the fun of it. They just want to keep a good bike with them.
Yeah.
But then there are many who are actually riding those bikes. So like we've got bikes worth 6-7 lakh rupees going around here and there, and then people are riding them and crashing on them as well. But that's the thing. It's like if you're riding it, you need a better bike. Yeah. But you need to first actually come to a certain level that you get yourself. That's how I treat myself. If I reach a certain fitness level, then I get myself something new. Otherwise, I don't.
That's
so
good.
that's how you actually build up. So for kids as well, actually, you need to push them, and you need to tell them, like, if you want to do this, like you said, I can't go to Munal. Why can't you go to Munal?
Because I don't think I can, to be honest.
Day one, yes, you won't be able to. But practice, and I think if you are really motivated to do it, you can do it within 3-4 months, maybe 5 months. But that's the thing. You need to push yourself.
Committed.
Yeah.
Will.
Thinking about Monal, I think there's only one turn which is actually coming to my head, and that is where, people park their cars for a view. You remember that?
Every turn is like that, though.
It's like it goes like this, So I think it'll be a little difficult, but obviously I think gears will make it easier.
Yes.
But I'll come down to you, Maliha, where you obviously have been labelled as an amateur cyclist as well, and we really want you to kind of go professional, and you have that will too as well. But obviously there's a lot of diet which goes into it as well. There's a lot of practice and exercise which goes into it. How do you manage to do that? And for anybody who actually wants to become a cyclist, or any women who wants to become a cyclist, for example, Shiza, what does she really need to do, if in order to, she kind of needs to conquer, Monal on a bicycle?
First of all, I think we need to believe in ourselves.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes,
And,
start doing that.
Step
okay?
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you do that?
And then
Doing.
Yes.
Then
we can do that.
Cycling Sunday, as Harun mentioned, that's the best opportunity a woman or any newbie can have, because that's the day when the Jinnah Avenue is blocked to from certain places, and you can cycle freely on that Jinnah Avenue area, and you can have the feel of being on the road as well as without the cars. So you can actually learn to cycle there. Yes, that's a good feeler for the little ones as well as the first timers. And about the diet, yes, we really need to take care of the diet. We need to keep
carbs, more proteins. What is it?
More proteins, I guess. Carbs make you. Yes, more proteins would work better.
But the cycle will kill the carbs, energy. Yeah.
Yes, but to a certain level, we can. Yes, we need to keep it. We need to maintain everything. Yes,
right,
balance.
you want to do it.
Yeah, I'll just say a simple thing. You can eat whatever you want, just burn it.
Yeah,
that is definitely
That's
important.
the simplest way to do it.
Simple fat math.
Yeah, and one last question, sir, from you before we actually wrap it up as well, or probably, Shiza might actually have a question, so I'm going to move on to her as well. Because you're a member of the cycling team over here in Islamabad. Are you better than Pindi boys? They do those wheelies and everything and stoppies and bicycles and they get all fancy. Can you do that too?
I hope you don't.
I do that. I do some of that, and I could go crazy some days on the trails while doing MTB riding. But I don't have the luxury to do that right now because tour of Islamabad is right around the corner.
Yeah, so you're practicing.
So yeah, I have structured my training. Wow. In which I am taking care of my diet. I am taking more carbs before my training sessions, and then ending it up with a mix of carbs and proteins for me to recover through the night, so that I could do it all over again the next day.
Wonderful.
Which makes me question, is there going to be a winner in your tournament?
Obviously. And their cash
Are you planning to win? Because just listening to your diet and your exercise and whatnot.
But he's not in the master category. Imagine there are masters as well, other than professional, amateurs, professional, and then masters.
Wow. It is gonna be a lot of suffering before I am able to get on the podium. Yeah, definitely.
But we want to actually wish you best of luck, that in all safety, and that it happens safely as well, and we're lucky that we actually live in a city where we can do that, and that too in such serene environment as well. But towards the end, one last question, that is, कभी कैंची मार के साइकिल चलाई बचपन में?
बिल्कुल चलाइए. Definitely done it.
Thank you very much, guys, for joining, and it was wonderful to have you over here. Because earlier, ladies and gentlemen, still remember my Nana Boo, my Dada Boo, they both used to have Sorab bicycles as well. And we as kids, we used to put one feet from here and one from here, and then kind of paddle it. This is what you call kenchi maar ke cycle chala. Yes, I've done it. Yes.
Well, till the next time, I really hope you guys, you take care of yourselves, and keep writing to us to let us know what you want to hear about on all our social media pages with the name of Wild This Morning. I hope and pray that today maybe you go out to do a physical activity which will strengthen your immunity.
It's my legs day today, so yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please pray for me too as well. Everybody out there, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. It's a wonderful morning. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.